Welcome to the Guitar Channel. I am super happy to welcome you a new interview. I am with the one and only Bruno Pelletier-Bacquaert from San Francisco, who just arrived in France here in the intergalactic headquarters of the Guitar Channel. Bruno, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
We are in January 2018, so what can I wish you for the next 12 months?
Well, good health. I guess that's the typical response, and well, I should say good continuation with my endeavors for guitar-related topics. So, and I have a few things that I'm hoping to develop more and more, and it has to do with instruction on essentially video instruction. And it's something that I pretty much started to invest a little more time in this past year with a vlog. I started a vlog, I believe, in the summer, late summer of last year, and it has two parts. One part is in English, obviously, but then the other part is in French. And so don't freak out. Those if you only are interested in the English one, because very few people would want to see both. If you see a few French videos appear, don't block me. It's just each vlog is published in two versions. It's the same number. So if you have number 13, it will be in French, but also right next to it, you'll have the exact same video, the same topic in English as well.
So before we go a little bit deeper on that, can you tell me if there was any musical shock for you in 2017?
It would be a big word for a shock, but
revelation or interesting, or what's your best CDs you bought?
Well, the one interesting one was the recent Kurt Rosenwinkel project, the Kaipi.
Yeah.
I did see the band twice last year, and I got also got the CD. The interesting thing is, the first time I saw them, I was not familiar with the music. And I liked the show quite a bit, except it was in a big room and the sound wasn't that exciting. Well, it's not that the sound wasn't exciting, but it wasn't very good, and I, being used
to... Quality of the sound was not good?
Yeah, because I was a little far. So visually, there's always, being a jazz musician, I like to see small rooms, not if the amplification starts to get too complicated, very often there's always something missing in the mix. Either the bass is too loud or the drums are not loud enough. There's always something that's not cutting through. And so I remember I was far away, and the sound just wasn't very, very good. Then I got the album. I could still tell the music was interesting in itself. So I got the album, listened to it quite a bit, and then I got to see them again recently. I think it was in October or November, in a very small room, and I was on the right in front, and it was a completely different experience. And that's it's actually important, probably for any kind of music, but for jazz in particular, you want to be right there with them. If you can sit on the floor. I mean, there's a few shows that I remember seeing a long time ago, like Pat Metheny. I saw Pat Metheny one time. I was sitting on the floor, like right in front of him. And when you're 20 years old, and when somebody like Pat Metheny that you get to see so close, you'll remember that forever, and if you were to witness the same exact concert, but 60 rows in the back, you're missing out terribly.
So you think it was because of the different size of the venue compared to the fact that you knew the music because you had some time to listen to the Kaipi album?
It's probably a combination of both, for sure. But I would say that if I had seen the very first concert in the same condition, like right next to the band, I would have liked it way more. But of course, being familiar with the material helps tremendously.
All right. So let's talk. Moving on to the future. So let's go back to the vlog. So what kind of theme do you attack on your attack? No, it's not attack. The word in
Tackle?
English. Tackle. Yeah, tackle. Thank you very much, Bruno. So what kind of theme do you tackle, Bruno?
Okay, well, it's always related to jazz and improvisation in general.
Don't apologize.
Did I apologize? No, I said it. Sorry.
Sorry, it's about jazz.
Okay. So it is about the guitar and jazz in particular, and improvisation also. I mean, which is my main thing. You know, I mean, there are plenty of instructional videos available everywhere that will show you the latest technique or some very precise things. I'm not so much about that, but I like to help people think about what they can what they should think about when they improvise or not think, which is another thing. You know, because I think all too often people are seem convinced that they have to think a certain way. You know, like a question that comes back all the time is like, oh, what are you thinking about when you're improvising? And my answer, and I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but my answer is always, I'm not thinking. You know, I try not to. And if anything, what I'm hearing is the melody that I'm trying to improvise. That's really, if I'm thinking about anything, that's what it is, and that's what it should be. I'm convinced that all of the great improvisers are doing the same thing. You know, they're not thinking of the chords. I mean, you kind of think of the chords to a point, but you really want to hear the sound of those chords, not so much that it's a C minor 7 going to an F7 going to a B flat major 7. It's like you're just thinking, this is what it sounds like, and this is what I'm hearing myself do against that or with that. So the various topics that I approach are basically little hints or little tips in a way, but sometimes it's deeper. I don't like the word tip because it's sort of cheapening the process. It makes it sound like, if you just do this little thing will help you sound like a pro, or which is often the way things are presented on the internet.
So you are not going to show, okay, here is the top secret lick you have to play to be able to handle this kind of chord change. It's more, okay, here is a standard of jazz, and here is how I would approach it, how I would advise to play, or some strategy to play on it.
Yes, and it's really an effort to simplify the process, because all too often what I'm seeing, other videos available out there, I think sometimes things are presented in a way that's too complex, and I think it feeds into that guilt trip that a lot of people have. It's like, oh, I'm not good enough because I'm not thinking of all those difficult things, or there's this myth that
I'm not schooled enough to be able to improvise,
or that the jazz improviser is this kind of genius that can process all those incredible things so fast, and it's not like that at all. And what I'm trying to do usually is simplify the process. Like let people understand that they don't need to burden their mind with all kinds of complicated things. I mean, I'm not trying to say it's just wing it. It's super easy, but it's way simpler that it. In fact, there's a good word that I heard recently that sums it up. What was it? It's all very simple. It's just not that easy, or something along those lines. And it was Bruce Foreman actually said that in one of his podcasts. So the approach itself is simple, except you have to be patient. You have to give it some time and keep trying. But the original thought is not that complicated. So you'll find some of those topics. So I talk, and it's quite varied and very random. The topics I address. It could be about approaches for improvisation, or a little exercise learning chord. I had a whole series about chords, certain voicings or certain chord progressions, 2-5-1s and turnarounds and things like that. I had one that I think people found interesting also. It was about different voicings that you could derive from pentatonic scales, which is something people often forget about.
Pentatonic scale is good.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great scale. And that's a typical thing. Also, a lot of people have this, they're ashamed of the pentatonic scale. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the pentatonic scale or scales. If you think major and minor, plus, there are a few other pentatonics. There's nothing wrong with the scales. They're stable scales. They're great. But unfortunately, I think it's the way people were taught to use them in the first place. But yes, you can derive a lot of very interesting voicings, chord voicings from those 5-note scales. So I have a whole series. I have, I think, 3 or 4 videos on those chords.
Okay. And tell us about your Play With Me video you produce. I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, the Play With Me, that's my humble approach on the backing tracks, because a lot of people are presenting backing tracks on YouTube, and that my approach, as usual, is less is more, in the sense that I'm not producing a whole backing track with a drum machine and a bass line and piano chords and so forth. It's just me playing guitar as if you and I were in the same room. And if we said, oh, let's play this tune, let's play Autumn Leaves, or let's play Blues in F, it's just the two of us. And I have a metronome clicking right next to me. And the interesting thing, at least I think, is that I alternate on those backing tracks between playing the chords and improvising, which means that when it's my turn to improvise, you are practicing your comping, your chords. So you get 2 in 1 in those videos. You practice your chords and you practice your soloing. And we alternate, depending on the tune. We take 1 or 2 courses and then trade that way. Yeah. So I think it's a good preparation for a real life situation. Like if you get together with a fellow guitar player, that's what's going to happen. You'll play your chords and you'll solo both. And I should mention that one of those videos was noticed by Jens Larsen, whom some of you already know.
From the Netherlands?
From the Netherlands, right? He's from Denmark originally, right. I think, right? Yeah, but he's based in the Netherlands. And so he found one of my videos, and he recorded himself improvising and playing chords with yours truly, and he published it on his channel. So you should go check it out because he sounded quite good on it. So
we're happy about his solo.
He did well. He did well, and as I told him, it's like, man, you should have told me you were going to do that, because I would. First of all, I would have practiced a little more. And then I would have worn something else too, because he looks a little sharper than I do. But that's it was done after the fact, so actually it was easier, because knowing myself, if he had told me, oh, let's do this, I would have probably done 3 or 4 takes before doing it. But that one was just a quick one. So I'm glad that it worked out this way.
Okay, nice. So where can we find all that good stuff? So YouTube, and I guess you have a website?
Yes. Well, I have a YouTube channel. So if you search for my full name, Bruno Pelletier-Bacquaert on YouTube, you will find me. And I have a website, which is Bruno Jazz. Yes, that's what it is. BrunoJazz.com. So you'll find that.
And Instagram too.
And Instagram too, thanks to Pierre, who strongly advised me to start publishing on Instagram. I like Instagram, actually. It's a quick and easy thing. I like Twitter. I'm also on Twitter. Theoretically, you can find me on Facebook also, but I'm not very good with Facebook. But Twitter and Instagram, it's a little easier for me. I can handle it a little better.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Bruno, it was great to be able to have you here at the Intergalactic showroom for the Guitar Channel. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best for 2018. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye.
You enjoyed this? Get your backstage pass on the guitar channel to watch the full video. This is only a small fraction of the content available. And the last component is the access to the private community to get high quality discussions with guitar aficionados like you.